Stablecoins, the holy grail of crypto. How accurate is this statement really? Last time we talked about algorithmic stablecoins and it was disappointing. The most promising algorithmic stablecoin failed due to regulation problems, so it might not amount to anything. But this video will be different. Now it's time to focus on the two other types, namely crypto-collateralized and fiat-collateralized stablecoins, and we shall see if it really is the holy grail of crypto. Hello crypto gang, welcome to another LamboLife video. Collateralized stablecoins differ from algorithmic in the sense that they are backed by assets. You could use cash, precious metals, cryptocurrencies, or even other stablecoins as collateral. The most obvious way to create a stablecoin is to use fiat money, aka a government-approved currency like the dollar. It's pretty straightforward. You just create a new currency that is redeemable by a popular and stable currency. For instance, you want to create a stablecoin pegged to the US dollar. Therefore, you should deposit dollar cash into a bank account and issue stablecoins with a 1-to-1 ratio against those dollars. And that's it. You now have a fiat collateralized stablecoin. But what if a user wants to liquidate their stablecoins back into fiat? How do we ensure it's still stable? Well, if there is a minus in demand, there should be an equal minus in supply. That's how you keep the balance. So if a user wants to cash out, we burn their coins and wire them the dollar equivalent. This scheme should definitely be stable, almost like it's really a digital representation of a dollar. This might be the simplest way to build stablecoins, but it has some drawbacks. It requires centralization of the ledger, which is against most of our collective values, because users have to trust the custodian, and they have to ensure that the custodian is trustworthy. Not only that, but the project would need to be audited regularly, and for the founders, this might be expensive to maintain. Now, centralization might be unfavorable, but it surely has its perks. Because this type of stablecoin can withstand any cryptocurrency volatility because all of the collateral is held in cash reserves and will remain intact in the event of a crypto crash. This isn't true for the other stablecoins. Even algorithmic stablecoins would be affected in a downtrend market. However, if the currency that backs the stablecoins crashes, then you're in a world of hell. So it's important for stablecoins to choose a fiat currency that is robust, not like Venezuelan Bolivar, which fell by 10 million%. Gosh, that was painful. But even with the dollar, it's still not completely safe though. And I'm saying this because I remember what John McAfee said before and why he was willing to bet cutting off his manhood if Bitcoin doesn't hit $1 million by 2020. And it was because he was considering not only the growth and popularity of Bitcoin as a store of value and payment system, but also the devaluation and deterioration of the dollar and other major fiat currencies. Now, I'm not too sure about Bitcoin hitting $1 million anytime soon, but I do believe that the growth of Bitcoin will be proportional to the decline of major currencies. That's just basic economic logic. Less demand for the dollar will cause it to plummet in price. With that in mind, I wouldn't feel too safe storing a chunk of my savings on Tether, even though Tether is the most popular stablecoin. About 50% of the trading volume of stablecoins belong to Tether. And I'm not entirely sure why it's still the most trusted stablecoin, to be honest, because they have a lot to answer for. They failed to have their cash reserves audited even though they promised to. A lot of people pointed out their discretion until they finally admit that they do not have all the cash that they claimed. However, it still says on their website that all their stablecoins are backed. But not all cash. They now include other assets and receivables from loans made by third parties. But they never admit this before, only around this year. So to all Tether users, I'm not saying you shouldn't use Tether, but if you do, watch them closely. Don't ever feel safe, just don't. Based on their behavior, you shouldn't fully trust Tether company. Now, fiat-backed schemes are heavily regulated and constrained by traditional payment rails. If you want to exit back to fiat, you'll likely need to wire money or mail checks, which is a slow and expensive process. Besides Tether, there are many other stablecoins. A good example is TrueUSD, which is a more transparent counterpart. Unfortunately, their trading volume of 40 million is dwarfed by Tether's 12 billion per day. But Tether's biggest competition among its category would be the USD coin, a recent stablecoin brought to you by Coinbase and Circle. Well, I guess a lot of people still use Coinbase. I don't, but I guess that gives the coin more credibility. Coinbase, after all, has a lot of liquidity, so they can manage their reserves better. Current trading volume is over $2 billion. But they're not the only exchange with a stablecoin. Gemini has their own Gemini dollar too. Pick your poison, guys. By the way, this type of stablecoin works with other assets as well. For instance, gold, just like Digix Gold, a stablecoin that represents physical gold with DGX tokens, where 1 DGX represents 1 gram of gold. It shares the same fundamental properties with fiat-collateralized coins, but instead of fiat, it's gold. There are other precious metal-backed stablecoins as well. Suppose we don't want to integrate with traditional payment systems. After all, this is new money. We just reinvented it. Why go back to centralized banks and state-backed currencies? If we move away from fiat, we are able to remove centralization. The idea is this: we do the same thing with fiat-backed stablecoins, but instead of USD or another currency, we back our coin with reserves of a cryptocurrency. That way, everything can be on the blockchain. Now you're thinking, but cryptocurrencies are definitely unstable. Our stablecoin would fluctuate up and down. And that's right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna over-collateralize. That is to say, back our stablecoin with more collateral than its circulating supply. This is the opposite of fractional reserve banking, where bankers have less cash than the circulating supply of their money. So this stablecoin scheme is more virtuous in a sense. Yeah, word. Anyway, since the value of our collateral is more than the circulating supply of our stablecoin, it can absorb price fluctuations of the collateral. For instance, suppose we have a stablecoin called LamboCoin. Suppose we deposit $200 worth of Ether and then issue 100 $1 Lambo coins against it. So since we now have $100 worth of Lambo coins backed by $200 worth of Ether, that means we are 200% collateralized. This means the price of Ether can drop by 25% and our Lambo coins will still be safely collateralized by $150 worth of Ether and can still be valued at $1 each. And if we choose to, we can liquidate them now, giving $100 in Ether to the owner of the Lambo coins and the remaining $50 in Ether back to the original depositor. Now you're probably thinking, neat trick, but why would anyone create a stablecoin like that? Surely by the structure itself, this scheme is capital intensive. There has to be a reward to incentivize the creator to risk it. Well, there are two incentives you can use here. First, you could pay the issue interest, which some schemes do, or the issuer could choose to create the extra stablecoins as a form of leverage. Let's use Lambo coins again in this context. This may be a little hard to grasp, but here's how it works. If a depositor locks up $200 of Ether, they can create $100 of Lambo coins. They then sell those 100 Lambo coins on the market in exchange for $100 worth of Ether. Now they have a leverage position of $300 worth of Ether, backed by $200 in collateral. If Ether goes up by 200%, they would have $60 instead of the $400 they'd otherwise make. Is it clear so far? Basically, all crypto-collateralized stablecoins use some variation of this scheme. You over-collateralize the coin using another cryptocurrency, and if the price drops enough, the stablecoins get liquidated. All of this can be managed on the blockchain in a decentralized way. But there's a minor catch. The stablecoin has to know the current USD to Ether trading price, and blockchains are unable to access any data from the external world. So how can we know the current price then? This is where the so-called oracles come in. An oracle is someone who finds and verifies real-world data and submits this information to a blockchain via smart contracts. So, we could simply have an oracle to continually publish a price feed onto the blockchain. But apparently, this is vulnerable to manipulation, so the publisher needs to be trustworthy. Another way is to use the shelling coin scheme, which is much more complex and requires a lot of coordination, but is ultimately less centralized and less prone to manipulation. An example for this is Truthcoin, which present an Oracle Corporation model which guarantees that a group of self-selected, anonymous, greedy users will always resolve contract outcomes honestly. The first stablecoin to use the crypto-collateralized scheme was BitUSD, which collateralized with BitShares back in 2013. The most popular and promising one today would have to be MakerDAO's platform, which is collateralized by Ether. The MakerDAO platform has two tokens. First is DAI, the stablecoin, then there's Maker. It's not a stablecoin, its main purpose is to govern the Maker platform. Expect a full video about MakerDAO soon, because this project gives me goosebumps. Expect great things from DAI. With that being said, there are still some drawbacks that we need to consider. Crypto-collateralized stablecoins are more vulnerable to price instability than their fiat counterparts. With fiat, it's less risky since they are inherently less volatile to begin with. With crypto as collateral, it gets really complicated keeping that volatility in check. Suppose you collateralize with Ether, and Ether crashes hard enough. Then your stablecoin will automatically get liquidated back into Ether. At that point, you'll be exposed to normal volatility risks, and Ether may continue to drop. Not only is this risky for users, but this could be a deal breaker for exchanges, because in the case of a market crash, they would have to deal with stablecoin balances and trading pairs suddenly mutating back into another asset. It gets really complicated and hard to fix. The only way to prevent this is to over-collateralize to the point where the circulating supply of the stablecoin is dwarfed by the underlying asset used as collateral, which makes this whole setup very capital intensive. But MakerDAO is making big moves. So far, this is the most promising stablecoin model. I couldn't say that stablecoins really are the holy grail of crypto. But for now, while Bitcoin and Ethereum are still half asleep, stablecoins could fill that role for a while. Today, we'll need a stable currency that's able to bypass national currency and border controls. And I think DAI could be the one to fill that role, among other stablecoins. But in 5 to 10 years from now when Bitcoin becomes the dominant world currency, would stablecoins still be relevant? I wonder. Damn, it feels good to be in crypto. Thank you so much to all my subscribers. I promise you this channel will become #1 crypto channel on YouTube. Till then, I'll see you on the flip side.